that will officially be ending coming up on October 15th. For more, we are joined by travel journalist Angel Castellanos. Angel, good to have you on here. I want to talk about your recent getaway in a moment. First, though, let's talk about Hawaii. That sounds pretty nice to me. What do you expect with this rule change from the governor there in Hawaii? You think we're going to see start to see a big rush of travelers heading to the islands?
We might start to see a big rush in bookings to the islands, especially for the holiday, because the prices are so low. But this is about the third time that they've changed that ruling. So I think travelers still have to be a little bit patient and be flexible enough to change their tickets or cancel their trips if it does get pushed back even further.
Yeah, a Hawaiian getaway for the holidays does not sound too bad to me. So speaking
No.
of traveling, you just got back from Turkey not long ago, and this was your third trip abroad since the COVID-19 outbreak began worldwide. What are some of the sort of the lessons that you've learned about how to keep yourself as safe as possible when you're flying?
Well, I think it's really important that every traveler speak to their doctor and make sure that you're healthy enough to travel. And even if a country doesn't require testing upon arrival, I still like to get tested before I travel and after, just to make sure that I'm not spreading anything. But in choosing these few destinations that are accepting American travelers, you got to really think about your airfare, where you're staying, and how you're going to socially distance to have a safecation. And that's really the key, to make sure you're checking those seating charts, to make sure that the airfare is flexible, and to make sure that the accommodations are doing everything in their power to stay clean. So in Turkey, there is a safe tourism certification that big properties have to meet, where the big corporations like Hilton and Marriott are stepping up their game, and Turkey is certifying those properties. But staying outdoors and doing activities where you're outside is really important when you're trying to social distance. So Turkey has so many beaches, so many national parks, about 5,000 miles of coastline, as you see here in some of the video that I took. And it was just
Beautiful.
great to be there. And mask wearing and hand sanitation and public health is super important in these countries. So it's pretty easy to follow the rules.
Overall, do you feel like American travelers are starting to feel more and more confident about flying? I mean, obviously, we saw the number of people who were flying somewhere would just plummet. Are we growing a little bit more confident, and you think that confidence will continue to grow?
I think consumer sentiment is definitely growing. Analysts are predicting that about 78% of travelers have something planned for the future. And the TSA reported that on Labor Day weekend, more travelers were in airports than any other weekend since March. So the demand is certainly there. And I think certain international airlines are doing a lot more than the US-based airlines to give travelers that confidence. Like when I flew on Qatar Airways, they handed me a face shield. And I see a lot more PPE kits being handed out by international airlines than here in the United States.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about putting those travelers at ease when they fly. All right, appreciate it. Sounds like you had some fun there as you traveled
I sure
abroad. We
did.
appreciate you sharing part of your trip with us. Travel journalist Angel
Thank you so much.
Castellanos, always good to have you on. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you for having me.